Heavy wooden doors, more than nothing happened.
I don't think that's going to...
High above, the wind wraps the doors remain.
If you really think we should get in there, we need to find some other way. Yes, the pulsing base. An indication of journey ordering.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of...
He's just making up fancy words. This doesn't mean anything.
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately. But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was...
Hold on. What's R&D? It looks old and weathered, with seagulls.
Apologies, it's an acronym for Research and Development. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development. That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago, after an aggressive move to... Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for tape computing. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average, which is a feat of engineering, even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM. Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Felt, even a boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Felt built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got...
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being... What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of... It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to River Shaw on her political concept album. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about...
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware. "10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center. This is all ninsy-pinsy garbage for sissy people.
The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ocker... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort, and But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was even one would be very useful. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the... Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Felt Playback Experience. But who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hand. But of course, what else? No, thanks to you.
You see, a once bright mural towering above you. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
A man lies on the boardwalk.
Hold on. Looks like he's been dead for a while. I'm surprised no one found him before you came along. Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just the laziest.
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again.
Well, at least you're not married.
Or, what if you are?
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now...
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
Without any further evidence, yes. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that, not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. Alright, we've already examined the library card. Let's call the Jamrock Library from my kinema, see if we can learn anything about this big. And while we're there, we should also call the station, let them know.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot.
It's military. A cell, probably something that is no longer there.
An old door, worn by... Heavy wooden doors. Nothing happens.
I don't think that's good.
High above, the wind wraps the church in its rush, cold and wet from the ocean bay. It parts around the massive keel-shaped roof, like a test.
There is a hole in...
The lieutenant looks at the padlock. He didn't hear you asking. You were quiet enough. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The padlock passes through. Heavy wooden doors. This cheap-looking... The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, one.
Is this about the question? Wow. I didn't know you worked for the union, sir. Anything else I...
Blow the whole thing on speed and gin right now. Speed and gin. Great. A small mountain of colorful board.
Wonderful Browbridge.
Who are you going to play board games with? It certainly feels like whatever you are will die with you.
Don't be so hard on yourself, sir. You just need to clean up a bit. For playing with friends, I'd recommend suzerainty. It's a civilization build, if you say so.
Larger letters on the front form a text underneath the title in smaller typeface reads, 3rd edition. A blurb on Succumb to a world of high pasternal fantastique. Unleash. Exactly. That's the spirit. All you have to do is read. In no time, you pry open the box. Inside, a reprint of a crude hand-drawn map. It doesn't seem to correspond. A quick guide to the magical races of Wirral. Create your own hero. The options are in order of the Welkin. Tall. The Welkin come with a grand race of industrial. The Dweog, also, they're just human. A very small race. The least popular of the Wirral. It's made from some sort of wood and has. You place the die into your pocket. It's always good to have. You see a man in ragged clothes wearing.
Interesting. A communard. The figurine is not a part of the real game setting. I guess someone misplaced it during the packaging process. I have a feeling the figurines are more there to set the scene than anything else.
You pick the figurine up by the base to meet your gaze. A colorful box with the title, Wirral.
It's dark. And the flashlight works a lot better if...
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft, like a smooth draw. The speaker.
Good morning. Please repeat. Good. Please repeat the password. Receive.
Yes?
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. What do you mean by cursed? Alright, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed. Maybe you have some other idea? A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost. Yes, you definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 10 real, and I can get these ready in 8 hours. Great, see you in 8 hours then. Was there anything else?
That's one brutal motor.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it.
A snazzy, shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a...
Yeah, tribal.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man.
I can tell you who we're not.
Which is not to say that the skulls...
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, Copman, is